Need a recap of 28 years later before you watch The Bone Temple? I got you. The movie starts with Jimmy, a young boy happily watching Teletubbies, which are honestly way more horrifying than anything that happens in the film, until a bunch of infected bust into the house and start biting everyone. Lucky for Jimmy, he's able to escape to a church only to find that his priest father is excited about the apocalypse.
Psycho.
And he willingly embraces the infected, but we're led to believe that Jimmy does survive. Fast forward 28 years later, and we see a small island community called Lindis farm that lives free of the rage virus. We meet Jamie and his son Spike, who's about to embark on his first ever hunt for infected. We also meet Spike's mom Isla, who's very sick. Jamie and Spike head out to the mainland where we learn that the infected have evolved. They've gotten stronger, more intelligent, and many are led by a massive, and I do mean massive, alpha, who Jamie and Spike have an encounter with as they escape back to home. But back home, Spike learns that there's an uninfected doctor named Kelson who lives on the mainland and supposedly lost his mind after the outbreak. And after hearing this, Spike becomes convinced that Kelson can heal his mom. And he finds out his dad's having an affair, and that's not cool. So Spike confronts his dad about Kelson, and his dad tells him Kelson's bad news, but Spike's desperate, so he basically kidnaps his mom and takes her to the mainland. During their travels, they encounter some infected, but they're saved by a soldier named Eric. Then they come to an abandoned train where they find an infected woman giving birth, and miraculously, her baby is not infected. Eric doesn't want to take chances and wants to take out the baby, but before he can, the alpha shows up and separates Eric's head from his spine, literally. But then, plot twist, someone shows up to save Spike and Isla, and it's Kelson, who takes them to the Bone Temple, which is, well, exactly as it sounds. A monument with dead people's bones and skulls.
Psycho.
Then Kelson does a medical checkup on Isla to determine that she has terminal cancer. And Isla knows her days are numbered, so she chooses to have Kelson shoot her with the dart so she can pass peacefully. And then Spike has what I guess you could call the honor of placing her skull on the Bone Temple. With Spike's journey seemingly complete, it's time for him to take the baby and head home, but he kind of hates home right now, so he just drops the baby off and stays on the mainland. Which goes about as well as you'd expect, because about 28 days later, he has a major encounter with the infected, but lucky for him, this weird cult shows up and takes care of business. And the leader of the cult then introduces himself to Spike, and plot twist, it's Jimmy, the Teletubby kid from the beginning of the movie. And that's how 28 years later ends.